In the fading light of an October evening in 1978, a young Australian pilot named Frederick Valentich took off from a small airport near Melbourne. He was only 20 years old, calm, disciplined, and passionate about flying. He had logged over 150 hours in the air and dreamed of one day becoming a commercial airline captain. That evening, the sky was clear, the winds were calm, and Frederick's single-engine Cessna airplane lifted off smoothly from Moorabbin Airport, heading south across the water toward King Island. It was a short, routine flight, just under 2 hours. But somewhere over the Bass Strait, Frederick encountered something that would make him a permanent mystery in the history of aviation. At exactly 7:06 p.m., air traffic control in Melbourne received a radio call from Frederick. His voice was calm at first, then slowly began to change. He reported seeing something strange in the sky, an aircraft that seemed to be following him. He said, "Melbourne, this is Delta Sierra Juliet. Is there any known traffic below 5,000? The controller checked radar. There was no other aircraft in the area. Frederick continued, his voice tightening. "It's approaching from the east. It seems to be playing some kind of game." For the next several minutes, the conversation continued between the young pilot and the control tower. What he described next would leave investigators speechless for decades. He said the object was metallic, shining, and moving at incredible speed. At one moment, it seemed to hover directly above his small plane. Frederick reported that it had 4 bright green lights and that it wasn't like any aircraft he had ever seen. Then, his tone shifted again. He said, "It's not an aircraft." Those would become some of the most chilling words in aviation history. The conversation lasted nearly 7 minutes. Throughout the exchange, Frederick's breathing grew heavier. He said the mysterious craft was circling him, moving too fast, vanishing, then appearing again. He reported strange behavior, as if the object was toying with him. Then came his last transmission. Frederick's voice trembled slightly as he said, "It's hovering, and it's not an aircraft." A strange metallic scraping sound followed. 19 seconds of it. Then silence. Radio contact was lost. Frederick Valentich and his aircraft vanished. Search and rescue operations began immediately. The Royal Australian Air Force, the Coast Guard, and civilian aircraft scoured the Bass Strait for 4 days. They found nothing. No wreckage, no oil slick, no body, no trace. It was as if the small Cessna had disappeared into thin air. Frederick's family was devastated. His father, Guido Valentich, told reporters that his son had always believed in the possibility of extraterrestrial life. He said Frederick often spoke about UFOs and was fascinated by stories of strange lights over the ocean. But he was not reckless, nor prone to fantasy. Investigators from the Australian Department of Transport examined every possible explanation. Some suggested that Frederick had become disoriented, that he might have been flying upside down, mistaking his own aircraft lights for another object. But flight experts dismissed that theory. The Cessna he was flying, a 182L model, was designed in such a way that flying inverted for that long was almost impossible without losing control. Others speculated about suicide, but his family and friends said he was in good spirits. He had a girlfriend waiting for him on King Island and plans for his aviation future. Another theory was misidentification, that the lights he saw could have been from the planet Venus or from distant ships reflecting on the water. But even skeptics admitted that this didn't explain the strange metallic sounds that ended his final transmission. A few days after his disappearance, a cargo ship reported seeing a mysterious green light moving across the sky near the same area. Several witnesses on the ground also described strange lights over the Bass Strait that night. One farmer even claimed to see a glowing object hovering over his property with a small plane beneath it. He said it looked like the plane was being pulled upward. That story was never verified, but it added another layer of unease to an already impossible mystery. Months later, small fragments of metal and debris washed up along the coast of Cape Otway, the same route Frederick had taken, but none could be conclusively identified as belonging to his Cessna. The ocean had swallowed its secret. The official government report ended with no clear conclusion. It listed the case as unexplained disappearance, but those who read the transcripts of his final moments often describe a growing sense of dread, a young man alone in the sky, watching something approach that he couldn't understand. For decades since, investigators, ufologists, and skeptics alike have tried to solve what really happened to Frederick Valentich. Was it pilot error, a freak accident, a suicide, or something far stranger? Many who listened to the original radio recordings claim to hear fear, genuine, rising fear, in his voice. Whatever he saw that night, he believed it was real. Over time, the case became one of the most famous UFO mysteries in the world. Pilots have since reported similar sightings over the same stretch of ocean: glowing orbs, green lights, metallic objects that move without sound. Even now, more than 40 years later, the Bass Strait remains one of the most unpredictable bodies of water on Earth. Strong magnetic anomalies are known to interfere with compasses and radio systems. Some call it Australia's own Bermuda Triangle, but deep down, this story is not just about UFOs or speculation. It's about a young pilot, alone at twilight, trying to make sense of something he couldn't explain. His calm professionalism slowly giving way to awe, then fear, then silence. When the search ended and the sea went still again, all that remained were his final words, carried by radio static into history. It's hovering, and it's not an aircraft. Today, that haunting sentence still echoes through the world of aviation and the world of mystery alike. The flight path of Delta Sierra Juliet remains a straight line drawn across the ocean, a line that ends in nothing. Maybe the sea claimed him, maybe something else did. But on quiet nights, when the wind is calm and the stars hang low over the Bass Strait, some pilots swear they still see a faint green light gliding silently above the waves, just for a moment before it disappears into the darkness. And somewhere out there, perhaps, the young voice of Frederick Valentich still calls into the night, calm, steady, and filled with wonder, searching for an answer that the world may never truly find.